Gautam Buddha once said that the secret to good health lies not in medicines, wealth, or even in the power of the mind, but in something far simpler and deeper, the human body. He believed that to mourn the past or to worry about the future was to miss the true wisdom of life, which is to live honestly and fully in the present moment. But most of us, trapped in the illusions of time, find it nearly impossible to live in the now. We are haunted by the shadows of the past, anxious about what lies ahead, and somehow forget the only place where life truly happens, the present. Buddha said that if one can learn to exist in the now, they will see their body and mind become completely healthy. Once you begin living in the present, the pains of the past lose their sting, and the worries of the future fade into silence. Even your breathing, each inhale and exhale, becomes a source of joy and contentment. But for that to happen, you must believe. And if you do, then listen closely, because the story you are about to hear is not just about a man named Rohan, but about all of us. It's a story about pain, failure, transformation, and the powerful light of presence that can guide anyone from despair to peace. Rohan was sitting alone on a rocky ledge at the edge of a mountain, the sky above him gray, his heart even heavier. His face was streaked with tears, his eyes empty, and the world around him quiet, save for the occasional gust of wind. He wasn't there for the view. He wasn't there for solitude. He had come with the intention of ending everything, his pain, his failure, his very existence. Just as he was about to lean forward, a voice called out. A Buddhist monk, wrapped in simple robes, happened to pass by. Without asking for permission or showing fear, the monk approached and sat down beside him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence stretched like the sky above. Then the monk said gently, "Are you still deciding, or have you made up your mind?" Startled, Rohan looked up and said with irritation, "If you think I've come here to jump and end my life, then yes, you're right. But it's none of your business. It's my life. I can end it if I want to." The monk, unbothered, looked at him calmly and said, "Then what good does it do to cry here? If your decision is final, why the tears?" His words cut through Rohan like a blade, and in response, he snapped, "Look, monk, I'll do what I came here to do. I don't need you telling me what to feel, just leave me alone." But instead of leaving, the monk smiled gently and asked, "Tell me, have you left everything behind? Do you carry anything with you?" Rohan's frustration deepened. "I've left everything. I have nothing. That's why I'm here. What's the point in living if there's nothing left to lose?" The monk paused and then said something strange. "Then why are you carrying this burden on your head?" Bewildered, Rohan looked around. "What burden? My hands are empty. I've got nothing." The monk looked into his eyes and replied, "Your breath isn't even flowing properly. You've come here to cry and die, yet you carry so much. A man with truly nothing doesn't cry. He feels light." Rohan felt the words twist in his chest like a key unlocking something long forgotten. "What are you saying?" he demanded. "What burden?" The monk's voice remained calm. "Have you ever looked within? Do you know the weight you carry in your mind? The regrets, the shame, the guilt? How long will you let these invisible weights crush you? Unload them, leave them here, free yourself." And in that moment, something inside Rohan cracked, not in despair, but in recognition. He fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face, and clasped the monk's feet. "No one," he said, sobbing, "no one has ever said this to me. Not my family, not my friends, but you see me." The monk helped him to his feet, and Rohan, filled with sudden hope, pleaded, "Can you help me? Can you solve my problems?" The monk's response was simple. "Where is your problem?" Rohan frowned. "At home. That's where everything started. Come with me and see." But the monk shook his head and said, "Your problem is not at home. It's within you. You left your home, your family, and came all the way to this mountain. If the problem was at home, it should have stayed there. But you brought it with you, didn't you?" The realization hit Rohan hard. He had never thought of it that way. The monk continued, "Until you solve what's within, you'll see problems everywhere you go. Your home didn't bring you here. Your thoughts did." Rohan sat silently, listening as if hearing language for the first time. "You're right," he said eventually. It's me. I'm the one who fails. Everything I touch falls apart. I'm unlucky. I tried to start a business with money my family gave me. At first it worked, but soon it failed. My family turned against me. They blamed me. They called me useless. My own friend, he started a business too, and his is thriving. He comes to my house, flaunts his success, and my family compares me to him. Every word he speaks feels like a knife. I tried again with a loan. I failed again. Now my house is mortgaged. I have nothing left. The monk listened without interrupting, then asked quietly, "Do you know why your friend comes to you?" Rohan's voice turned bitter. "To belittle me, to remind me of how much I've failed and how much he's succeeded. He comes to make me feel small." The monk raised his eyebrows. "So tell me, does his success make you sad?" Rohan nodded. "Yes, I feel jealous. I regret everything. His success hurts me." The monk looked deeply into Rohan's eyes and said, "Then your happiness depends on your friend. If he fails, you'll feel better. If he succeeds, you'll suffer. That means he controls your emotions, not you. You are a slave to him. If he wants, he can make you happy. If he wants, he can make you cry. And as long as someone else controls your—" Rohan's breath caught in his throat. "But I wanted to take care of my family. I worked hard for them. I tried to make them proud. Is it wrong to want your family to be happy?" The monk smiled again, not mockingly, but with kindness. "No, it's not wrong. But why do you say you did it for them? You did it for yourself, because their happiness makes you feel good. That's not selfish, it's human. But when you think you're sacrificing for others and they don't acknowledge it, you suffer. You feel betrayed. But if you know you're doing it for your own peace, your own joy, then you don't need anyone's praise. You are your own source of happiness, and in that, there is real power." The wind blew softly across the quiet mountain as Rohan stood with his eyes closed, the monk's words still echoing in his heart like a distant chant. His breathing had grown calmer, slower, as if each breath were a thread slowly unraveling the tangled knots of his inner world. He walked down from the cliff, not as a man defeated, but as someone who had glimpsed something sacred, something that couldn't be bought, inherited, or stolen. The monk had not only heard his pain, he had understood it. Rohan had carried his sorrows like a heavy backpack for so long that he had forgotten what it felt like to stand tall. But now, something had shifted. The monk had not offered him pity. He had offered him a mirror. And in that reflection, Rohan saw not the broken image of a failed man, but the possibility of someone who could rise. With trembling hands, he held the little box the monk had given him. He didn't open it. He didn't feel the need to, not yet. It was enough to know that something waited inside for a time when the world would go dark again. That alone gave him strength. When he returned to the village, people stared at him, some in pity, others with disdain. But he had changed. Their opinions no longer defined him. He went back to his modest home, knocked gently on the door, and when his mother opened it, her expression shifted from surprise to silent relief. Without a word, she stepped aside. He walked in, not as someone seeking forgiveness, but as someone who was finally ready to begin again. Days turned into weeks. Rohan worked hard, not with the desperate urgency of someone trying to prove himself to the world, but with the calm focus of someone who had made peace with failure. He cleaned out an old storage room and turned it into a tiny workspace. This time he didn't rush, he planned every step with care. He didn't seek large profits or instant rewards. His goal was simple: to do things right and keep showing up, no matter what. And slowly his business began to grow, not explosively, but steadily. He mended relationships with his family, not by apologizing for every mistake, but by showing them through his actions that he had changed. And the success did come, unexpectedly, like the first monsoon after a scorching summer. His products caught the eye of a few vendors, and soon he had loyal customers. Then, one day, he was invited to a business meet where he had the chance to share his story. As he spoke, people listened, not to a tale of overnight success, but of a man who fell hard, got up slowly, and walked with intention. The audience applauded, not his achievements, but his honesty. But as the monk had said, time changes. The seasons shift whether we want them to or not. Just when everything seems stable, news came that a neighboring kingdom had attacked. Chaos followed like a shadow. Businesses shut down, markets crumbled. Rohan's hard-earned peace was shattered in an instant. He tried to keep everything afloat, but his savings were drained within weeks. One by one, comforts disappeared. His house was taken, his family scattered. Hunger, that old enemy, returned with a vengeance. And then, the unthinkable happened. His parents, unable to bear the starvation, passed away quietly, their eyes dry from weeping too much. His wife and brothers fell ill, but there was no money for medicine, no kind stranger willing to help. It was as if the universe had forgotten him again. He walked the streets like a ghost. There was no fire in his eyes, no strength in his steps. And once again, he found himself staring at the same edge of despair where he had once met the monk. This time, the monk wasn't there. No one was. Only silence and pain. But inside his bag, untouched and almost forgotten, was the little box. He sat down on a stone under a fading sun and opened it. There was no treasure inside. No scroll of divine solutions, no golden secret. Just a note, a single piece of paper that read, "Your life can change for the better at any moment. You may be rich or poor, but with courage, you can accomplish anything." It wasn't magic, it was perspective. Rohan closed his eyes and inhaled deeply. The air was still warm. The world hadn't changed, but something in him did. Again. He looked at the note, reread it, and then folded it carefully and put it back in the box. He wiped his tears, not because he wasn't sad, but because now he knew sadness wasn't permanent. A quiet determination stirred within him. He stood up, weaker in body but stronger in mind. If courage was the only currency he had left, he would spend it wisely. Not to chase lost fortunes or past comforts, but to reclaim the present. To build again not for anyone else, but for himself. The world had broken him twice. But each time, it also handed him a lesson. Not in wealth, not in relationships, but in the quiet, untouchable strength that lives within those who refuse to quit. He walked forward. The path was unclear, the sky uncertain, but this time he knew. He didn't need to see the entire road. He just needed to take one more step. And that is how you begin to live in the present. The journey back to life was not grand. There were no crowds to cheer him on, no banners in his honor, and no hands reaching out to guide him. But Rohan no longer needed any of those things. He had loyal customers. Then one day he was invited to a business meet where he had the chance to share his story. As he spoke, people listened, not to a tale of overnight success, but of a man who fell hard, got up slowly, and walked with intention. The audience applauded not his achievements, but his honesty. But as the monk had said, time changes. The seasons shift whether we want them to or not. Just when everything seemed stable, news came that a neighboring kingdom had attacked. Chaos followed like a shadow. Businesses shut down. Markets crumbled. Rohan's hard-earned peace was shattered in an instant. He tried to keep everything afloat, but his savings were drained within weeks. One by one, comforts disappeared. His house was taken. Stone, his family scattered. Hunger, that old enemy, returned with a vengeance. And then, the unthinkable happened. His parents, unable to bear the starvation, passed away quietly, their eyes dry from weeping too much. His wife and brothers fell ill, but there was no money for medicine, no kind stranger willing to help. It was as if the universe had forgotten him again. He walked the streets like a ghost. There was no fire in his eyes, no strength in his steps, and once again, he found himself staring at the same edge of despair where he had once met the monk. This time, the monk wasn't there. No one was. Only silence and pain. But inside his bag, untouched and almost forgotten, was the little box. He sat down on a stone under a fading sun and opened it. There was no treasure inside, no scroll of divine solutions, no golden secret, just a note. A single piece of paper that read, "Your life can change for the better at any moment. You may be rich or poor, but with courage, you can accomplish anything." It wasn't magic, it was perspective. Rohan closed his eyes and inhaled deeply. The air was still warm. The world hadn't changed, but something in him did. Again, he looked at the note, reread it, and then folded it carefully and put it back in the box. He wiped his tears, Not because he wasn't sad, but because now he knew sadness wasn't permanent. A quiet determination stirred within him. He stood up, weaker in body but stronger in mind. If courage was the only currency he had left, he would spend it wisely. Not to chase lost fortunes or past comforts, but to reclaim the present, to build again, not for anyone else, but for himself. The world had broken him twice, but each time, it also handed him a lesson. Not in wealth, not in relationships, but in the quiet, untouchable strength that lives within those who refuse to quit. He walked forward. The path was unclear, the sky uncertain. But this time he knew he didn't need to see the entire road. He just needed to take one more step. And that is how you begin to live in the present. The journey back to life was not grand. There were no crowds to cheer him on, no banners in his honor, and no hands reaching out to guide him. But Rohan no longer needed any of those things. He had become the kind of man who could walk through fire quietly and still hold on to the embers of hope. With only a small bundle of clothes, a worn pair of sandals, and the box the monk had given him, he began again, this time not in the pursuit of success or approval, but in search of peace. He traveled from village to village, offering help where he could. If someone needed their roof repaired, he'd climb up without complaint. If a family had lost their livestock, he'd help gather wood or draw water in exchange for a warm meal. People began to notice something different about him. There was a stillness in him, a rare kind of strength that didn't come from wealth or position, but from having nothing and still choosing to give. Rohan had stopped expecting anything from the world, and in doing so, he began to receive more than he ever imagined. A small farming community took him in. They gave him a tiny corner of land and a small hut that had been abandoned long ago. He began to grow vegetables, not for trade or wealth, but for nourishment. With each seed he planted, it was as if he were also planting a piece of his soul into the earth. The soil didn't care about his past failures or his scars. It responded only to care, consistency, and time. And slowly, the land gave back. One day while he was watering the plants, a young boy came running to him with a sick goat. Rohan didn't know much about medicine, but he remembered an old remedy his father used to use. He treated the goat and stayed by its side all night. When the goat recovered, the boy's mother wept in gratitude. They offered him a few silver coins, but he refused. Their joy was enough. The story of the quiet farmer who helped people began to spread. Soon he was known not for the riches he had lost or the empire he had once tried to build, but for the kindness he shared and the calm he carried. When people came to him with complaints about their lives, broken relationships, failed businesses, betrayals, he didn't preach, he listened. And sometimes he would share the story of a man who had once stood on a mountain, ready to end it all, only to find a monk who gave him a simple box. He never revealed what was inside, only that the box had saved his life, not once, but twice. Over time, more people came, not for his crops or help, but just to talk, to be near someone who had seen the worst and still chosen to live gently. And then one evening, just as the sun dipped below the hills, painting the sky in soft orange hues, an old man arrived at Rohan's doorstep. He wore a weathered robe and carried a staff, and his eyes sparkled with the same quiet mischief Rohan had once seen on that mountain. It was the monk. Rohan couldn't believe it. He rushed forward and bowed deeply. The monk simply smiled and said, "I told you, time always changes, but so do we." They sat together under a neem tree as the stars began to shimmer in the night sky. Rohan told the monk everything, his rise, his fall, doubts, and how the small note had become his anchor. The monk listened without interruption, occasionally sipping water from a clay cup. When Rohan finished, the monk reached into his robe and took out another box, smaller than the first. He handed it to Rohan and said, "This one is not for you. This is for the next person who forgets how to breathe." Rohan understood without needing to ask. Life had come full circle. He had become the monk, not in appearance, but in essence. He had become someone who could see pain and not flinch, who could guide without pride, and who had learned the deepest truth of all, that real peace comes not from escaping life, but from walking through it with awareness. As the monk prepared to leave, he turned and asked, "Tell me, Rohan, do you still fear the past or the future?" Rohan smiled. "No, I live in the breath I'm taking now." The monk nodded in approval and walked away, his figure fading into the night. That night, Rohan placed the new box on a shelf in his hut, and in his heart he made a silent vow. If ever he found another soul ready to fall, he would pass it on, not just the box, but the story. The story of a broken man who had once believed life was over, only to discover that sometimes, when everything falls apart, it's only because something greater is waiting to grow. And so, Rohan's story didn't end. It became a light passed from hand to hand, from soul to soul, whispering gently in the wind, "Live in the present, the rest will follow."